I feel it's important, especially now, and I appreciate you guys giving me a platform as well. Because I feel it's important, especially now, for more people in the world, because I'm not canceled. You can't cancel me. I'm going to be everywhere still. I feel it's important for people with different audiences, different mindsets, and different views to me to actually listen to me speak, and whether they agree with me or disagree with me, no one's going to come to the conclusion after speaking to me that I'm a dangerous or evil or bad person, and that I'm bad for the world. Because I don't think I am at all. I think I'm a net positive in the world, and I have my flaws like everybody else. But so I appreciate the platform, because the type of people watching you, married couples, etc. I don't know what your audience primarily is. I feel it's important for them to hear someone like me speak, someone who lives a life that is different from your life. I'm probably never going to be the monogamous married man. I'm being realistic, but yeah, it's really cool that the internet has that power to connect people when people are allowed to speak, and that we can have this discourse. So, yeah, you certainly did have business getting my things.
Oh, thank you. Well, and the thing is, we want our audience to understand that this world is made up by men and women that are no better or less than anyone. How you live your life, how I live my life, how she lives my life is our right as a human being. As long as we're not harming people, there should be no problem in it. If you're not physically harming people, it's fine. You should be able to say whatever you want. Like,
that's my caveat to it. As long as you're not doing harm to people with your actions and your, I was going to say with your actions and your words, but I don't believe words are as harmful as people say.
They're made up.
Especially we were talking, about death threats that I receive and all the horrible things people say to me. Do those things really hurt me? Really?
Yeah.
They don't. It's the old sticks and stones argument.
Yeah.
But I don't believe words are harmful. And as much as, and I'll bring up the topic of race, because I'm a mixed race individual. My father is black, my mother is white. I don't even have a problem with letting someone who is, for example, racist have a voice, because I feel that's important, because then we know who the racists are. If someone's saying I don't like mixed race people and black and white people shouldn't intermarry, I'm not going to try to shut you up as a mixed race person. I'm going to be like, so that's this guy's point of view. At least he's not in his underground clubs talking about it, conspiring against. So we know, he's putting his hand up and putting a mark on himself, and that way you can talk him out of it.
Yes.
If you don't know that he thinks it, how are you going to convince him that he's wrong?
That's very true.
So I'm not even against. I would happily platform and sit next to somebody who doesn't believe that interracial couples should exist. I'd happily sit and talk to them as the product of an interracial couple, because how am I ever going to convince him he's wrong if I don't hear his point of view?
It's interesting too, because I was big on the race thing. I studied some more of the biology thing, and head sociologists determined that skin color is a biological difference, just like jawline, eye color, height, weight, all those things, bone structure. It's all genetic differences, and skin color alone is not a significant genetic difference to determine the human being as separate races. So it's more of a cultural thing. And then that's what, whoever the powers that be want, is the cultural division between men and women, so that they're fighting each other and they're not making stable homes, and they're not finding out who the real enemy is.
Of course, I say it all the time. They want poor people arguing. If a black billionaire, a Chinese billionaire, and a female billionaire all meet in Mexico, and their translators insist that they all translate and speak French, no one's going to sit there and say, oh, well, I'm not going to do business with him, he's Chinese. Oh, what's this woman doing in our meeting? What, a black guy? No one's going to say that ever. They're all going to sit at the top. They're going to shake hands, drink their whiskey, high five, make billions of dollars. It's the poor people who they want divided.
Absolutely.
So America is the perfect country to run these kind of experiments, because America is the only truly multiracial country in the world. The black Americans, like my ancestors, and the white Americans, like your ancestors, arrived there essentially at the same time, for different reasons, of course. And it's a mixing pot of races and cultures, and it's the perfect place for rich people and the people who really run the world. And I'm not going to say any names, but the people who really want to control everybody, to say, oh, white people, black people are your enemy. Oh, Latinos are your enemy. Actually, white people. Koreans and Chinese people, they're out competing you in X, Y, and Z. And to keep the poor people fighting, it's very easy to do. You can't do that in a country like the Gambia, for example, which is the blackest country in the world, with 99.8% of people black. You can't convince Gambians that the Mexicans are the enemy, because Gambia is an ethnically black country. And the one thing I like about Romania as well is Romanians don't mind their government taking the piss out of them a little bit, but every once in a while, and it's happened even in recent memory, they'll go and protest in the center and they'll kick their government out. Because everyone's united behind one front. You can't turn Romanians against other Romanians. It doesn't really work. So I think that's a pretty sad thing about the United States, that, you know, the weakness that they see in us, as the son of an African American and as the ancestor of white Americans as well. I think, like, it's such an easy, like, distraction to throw at the lower classes and the working class people, like, and it just makes me sick that they get away with it all the time. They get away with
They
it.
do.
They divide the populace, and it makes me genuinely upset.
Yeah, I definitely do not like how divided we are. Especially, I don't watch, CNN, Fox News. I don't watch any of it. I don't want to be involved in it. I don't want my brain washed. And I just try to focus on, like I said, what's in front of me, my friends and family, and improving myself. And I think that's just the best way to go about life.